Hello everyone and welcome to One Teacher, One Scientist chat room. Today we are in conversation with Ranjan Kaul, a writer, a painter and IIT alumnus. Ranjan gives us a perspective on how schools can use art education in a more proactive manner. Hello Ranjan, welcome to our show, and we want to understand your perspective on how art should be tackled in schools.
So basically, art is about civilization. What makes us human beings, and why have people been doing art through the ages? And there are various forms. See, we talk about wall art of Ajanta Ellora, and we talk about street art today. So as if it's something new.
Yeah.
Ajanta Ellora was done.
Knows how many years? Yes,
how many years ago?
Ancient art.
Exactly. So it's about what makes you a human being.
Yeah.
So and what distinguishes, so we talk about innovation, science, but we talk about, what makes you a human being. It's about your culture.
Yes.
So when we talk about identities, who you are, what is your civilization? Everybody talks about Indian culture. What is Indian culture if you do not know your own history?
Absolutely.
And how can so what I'm trying to say is, when you the motivation to learn art is all about that. It's not about how it can be applied in day-to-day life. It's about opening up your mind, yourself, and learning in a broader perspective. So that is what I wanted to bring to the table.
Yes.
That we have to broaden the perspective on this.
Modern and deeper, it's like also understanding the different perspectives of the artist. What is he trying to explain?
Yeah, exactly.
And how are you absorbing it? Because sometimes it can act as a mirror. Like, what is your perception is actually a mirror of your inner world.
Right. That's right. So it's like, you reading a work of, you're reading a novel or a short story. Now the author wrote it in a particular perspective. You're right. But when you're reading it, based on your own experience or your understanding, you will interpret it different ways. So Shakespeare has 101 ways to interpret Shakespeare. So similar, a work of art.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's like art. I feel the way we are approaching art study in school is very, very marginalized. I mean, we have not.
It's marginalized because the understanding of what art can do to us as human beings. How do we become more civilized?
The culture actually separates or brings you onto a spectrum.
Yeah. So otherwise, what is between a human being and an animal? Yeah. So you're doing all the other physical things, but there is an emotional part. We talked about, you call it a spiritual part, I call it the emotional part, and it is not. So one, of course, it's an expression, what you said, but it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody has to paint to be able to
Yes.
To be able to appreciate.
That's it in various ways.
Yeah, it's like everybody doesn't have to be a novelist to be able to read, or everybody doesn't have to be a musician to be able to listen to music, or everybody doesn't have to be a filmmaker to be able to watch films.
Yeah.
So why are you denying yourself the pleasure of enjoying somebody else's expression? If we specifically talk about drawing, painting, and visual arts, it's about, in science, you talk about observation.
Yes.
You do, at the junior classes, you say you study a candle, look at the wax melting down. But what better observation can you do than being able to look at a person's face and try and observe and try to do it, So observation, critical thinking, creativity, all these
communication. I mean, you can communicate to the other person through art. So these are critical skills that we are talking about in the 21st century any which way.
When I've had my exhibitions, people come and say, what does it mean? I said, what does it mean to you? It's less important what it means to me, it's more important what it means to you.
Yeah.
And as long as you are able to relate it, and you're going to relate it differently, you're going to differ, because art is an emotional expression.
Absolutely.
And that is where we say different from mathematics and science. We're completely rational. There is an emotional power to a human being, and when we say we are going to only do we're only going to do science and commerce and maths because it's going to help you develop careers, I'm sorry, you're not going to be thinking then. You'll stop thinking.
Yes.
And yes, you will become like robots.
If you look at it, emotional part and the thinking part, the creative thinking part, these are the two things that will separate a human being from artificial intelligence.
Exactly. So tomorrow you'll have robots to do all the activities which can do anyway.
Absolutely. So from machine learning and human learning, that will set a person apart.
That's right.
And these are the skills, if we don't develop in children right from the beginning, we
21st century, you'll just be like automatons.
Yes.
So and those skills are not needed because there are machines which can do a better job.
To make the world a humane world, look at it.
Absolutely.
Right now, we are all in this COVID times, and it is the human touch that we are missing.
Exactly.
It is humanity that is needed, and
that's right.
And if we don't,
you touched a very sensitive chord, because that I believe that it considerably,
Yeah, I mean, I personally feel, coming from the science thing, okay, you and I are both from the science field, so to say.
But we have a slightly broader horizon.
Yeah, but it needs that human element integrated with it. You can't have teaching happening in silos, because after all, you are nurturing a human being, somebody who will make an impact in the world.
Yeah. No, that's why I'm saying. So if we may be able to push our careers, but are we? I come back to the question: are we civilized? If we are going to behave like barbarians and start killing each other, then you're no better than savages. So what is this barbaric behavior on the streets which we see? Even if you are educated, what does that education come to? If you are going to behave, so art will certainly help, make you a better human being. And isn't that the purpose of education?
Absolutely.
Because you can always learn, like you've been reading about art. I also read about I read history, which I've never studied from, because our curriculum class 8, we had a 11-year curriculum. Class 8 is when I last studied history in school. I wish I could have studied, or philosophy was never taught. So you read on your own. But why shouldn't you be able to read about religions? Why shouldn't you be able to read about philosophies? What is happening in the world? Now, if you created that awareness, people will learn.
Absolutely. And I think somewhere we need that flexibility in our approach towards education. Because
absolutely.
Children, and especially in the elementary school, I think in the primary classes, we can still give schools that flexibility, because not one size fits all.
But as I told you, when we started the discussion, art education is more needed at the middle school and the secondary school level, because that is when they become a little more socially aware. When you are at the primary, your horizon in your world is you and your family and your classroom and your friends. But as you grow older, you are more of an educator than I am. So your horizon increases, and that is where the curriculum has to extend. Necessarily.
Yes.
It is as important as learning a language. We always talk about French and their culture. Now, India, we talk about our culture, but how many people actually are living the culture?
Yeah.
Very few.
We're not building it in our children.
And that's why I'm saying, we may be getting our education, but we are not becoming culture.
Yes.
Because we still remain in our behavior, in many ways, barbaric. You know, these are strong words, but what else do you say to the kind of thing which happens on the streets?
Yes. And I feel somewhere this is not.
I mean, you have rape, you have plunder, you have lynching, you have all kinds of violence happening. Why is it? And we say we are a great nation, great culture. Yes, historically we were, but are you today? You know, and what is the cause? The cause is, and that is where you have to build your argument. The cause is because you have not had an art education.
Yes.
So you can't live in your past without actually learning about it.
Yes, and human sensitivity comes through creative arts, you know.
Through creative arts, I mean, it's just like listening to music. You know, you get immersed into it. The same thing you can do with theatre. I mean, I always enjoy a play, you know, because you are able to relate to much more. You know, and even films, some people, you know, come out teary-eyed. And similarly with the visual arts, unfortunately in the visual arts, it's least so because there has been no exposure at all.
People don't know what to see in art. People don't know how to understand.
So you know, and as I keep saying, you know, what is so difficult about seeing art? I've not had an art education. I've not studied, you know, 5 years, but I think I can appreciate art. You know, and it's like it's repeated exposure.
Yes.
And you know, and I since we talk about what to see in art, and we can have that discussion later. I mean, if you appreciate music, so in art, you know, you have so you talk about composition, you talk about balance, you talk about harmony. So what are the elements which make a work of art? Line, harmony, balance, color, the emotional appeal. So music and art, and similarly other art forms, there are so many analogies and parallels, you know.
Absolutely. So it's also how you perceive beauty.
Exactly. And you see beauty and everything, just because it looks good, if there is no emotional content, and you know, that is the what difference between, say, design, something which looks good, and art. I mean, something which will scientifically, technically look very balanced and, you know, harmonious, may not evoke any emotion in you. On the other hand, something very ugly is like Picasso's one of the famous works is the La Demoiselles, which is about the prostitutes, and they are ugly looking women, you know.
Yeah.
But yet there is something which evokes a kind of sentiment in people to say this is a great work of art. I do think that Picasso was the world's greatest artist, because then each of his works, there had so many nuances of his work. It had a socio-political backdrop to it, and you know why he did it. It was not. It was a method. It was not. It was like a method in madness, you know, as Clear, you know, says it. So, but he was a genius. Everybody cannot be so.
Yeah.
But you can still see Picasso. So people will not see मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा. But there are various ways in modern art. You know, there was a move to be able to, like, there were painters like Miro, who consciously tried to go back to how you would draw like a child. Because children, they are not inhibited. You see what happens with, and why people stop painting is like, I also, you know, I did not paint at all, because you get inhibited, and so you stop expressing yourself. And you see, now, also there's another reason why is a form of self-expression. You see, we are talking today of a very, very stressful world where children are stressed. Now, if you are able to find an outlet of that thing, even for half an hour, 1 hour a day, you know, you come out a much more happier person. So that's another
it
very
was
important.
release also.
Absolutely, release. So you sing, you dance, it's not just about. So everybody talks about you need to play. Yes, play is a physical release, but you also need an emotional release.
Yes.
You can,
and a
for
social
some
release. I feel art, any form of art, can be a lovely way of teaching social and emotional skills.
absolutely.
How do you think, Ranjan, how important is it for children to have hobbies? I mean, I'm sure, art must have been a hobby for you in childhood.
Well, it was yes and no, but what happens is at some point of, yes, I used to somewhat. My mother was a trained artist. She thought and you see, they all thought, people who were in the creative field, no, this is not an area you should go into. So everybody in the classroom was school was sitting for IIT. So you also bhed chal, you also sit for IIT. Now you sit for IIT. I mean, my misfortune that you go through. Once you go through, what do? You are stuck.
Yeah.
And ours was a 5-year curriculum that time.
Yeah.
So
I think
yes, certainly you should have hobbies. What I'm saying is, certainly you should have hobbies. You should have interest, but then every time your hobbies need to get sacrificed because your curriculum, because our curriculums are not properly designed. It's like the US curriculum in college is a far more integrated curriculum. So even if you are doing engineering, you can study history or literature or something like that.
Yeah.
We have inherited some Baba Adam colonial system which was designed to produce clerks, and we continue to produce clerks with no thinking, and nobody. So people are not thinking. People don't question.
So somewhere I feel that we are really missing out on
very badly
on how we are marginalizing the strength of the social sciences, building culture, and somewhere like how.
And which is our inheritance. You see, we keep talking about India has got the richest culture, but what is this bloody culture we talk about when your children you're not even aware of it?
Absolutely. And the saddest thing is that world over, people are talking, like United Nations has come out with their sustainable development goals, which is saying that we should be able to teach children how to appreciate different cultures. And what better than creative arts to expose children to different kinds of culture and build that appreciation?
Yeah, of course. And India, because we're not one nation, we're several nations.
Yes.
And you talk about even within a country, you look at and very rich culture. I mean, our tribal culture, our tribal art, like we talk of Gond art, is very rich. Now, when we say these are tribals, but I feel today they're more civilized. They're not killing each other. Yeah. They're learning. They have a much more sustainable way of living. And many people are actually talking about that. These indigenous culture, and yes. All of them, without fail, have a very rich, whether it's dance or painting or many things, and they practice it every day. In tribal villages, it's the done thing.
Yeah.
So there's craft. In fact, you adorn yourself. That itself is becoming. Of course, here you don't do it yourself. So you go to a salon and you make yourself look like everybody else.
Absolutely.
So which
kills the creativity right at the beginning.
Absolutely.
So my thing is that I think children should grow up with all these tools, and somewhere we need to just nurture that creativity that every child is born with. I always say that if we can preserve that natural magic and wonder in a child, I think that should be the role of education.
Yeah, so that's why I've said, so we keep talking about thinking skills, critical skills, keeping your mind open. But questioning skills. You need to question. So art questions
Yes.
it, and you see increasingly, which is a good thing. You see, there were, contemporary art went through a phase which became very, a lot of abstract expressionism came in, and there was, especially after the war, the Second World War, it was a kind of a existentialist crisis, and there was a lot of very negativity. So, meaningless of life, life has no meaning, and that kind of art was created. But now a lot of art, especially art which is being looked, is social art.
Yeah.
Where people are talking about and painting and depicting what is happening in everyday India, but in a dramatic fashion, so that people take notice.
Yeah.
So I've also become interested in little more social art, in the sense that, because what should an artist be doing? Because you cannot cut yourself from what is happening in the world around and say, no, this doesn't concern me.
If art and science merges together, I think that can actually become a very powerful way of empowering children.
To begin with, you see, art and science are not two different things.
Yes,
it's just that we
created those boundaries, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
So otherwise, every child is born with that. What is science? Science is just structuring knowledge, right? In different ways. It's like presenting knowledge in a structured manner. There could be like science of the mind, which we call psychology. It could be philosophy. It could be, all these are sciences. In fact, I would say even social studies is a social science.
No, even science and physics at the highest realm. Has become more philosophical than many other things, because it's asking the question, where do we come from? What philosophers was to ask. Today, science is asking the same question. What is the meaning of existence? Why are we here? What is the nature of existence? What is the cosmos?
Absolutely, the entire science is based on quantum physics in a way, and particle matter in its basic form.
Yeah. So what is philosophy?
Philosophy is
exactly.
So my thing is that somewhere I think we need to give children experiential learning and let them experience the world around them, construct their knowledge.
Exactly. You see,
and build a human being out of themselves.
See, the thing is that, that's why I said, what is the purpose of education? You have to develop an interest in the child to become a little more aware. Then the child himself or herself will acquire that knowledge himself. When we talk about art, it's no longer just painting or sculpture. So there is performance art, theater, drama, dance, everything. So there's a lot of space and when we talk about art, of course, you have to talk about architecture.
Yes.
And so many of the most contemporary exhibitions is about spatial use of space and use of new materials. Now, when we talk about innovation, creativity, use of materials, science also talks about that.
Yes, absolutely.
And
we've made them happening in silos, and therefore child is also learning only in silos for
absolutely
just the question papers.
Yeah.
And where is the merging doesn't happen because the boundaries become very strong during their school learning.
The parents are not convinced. You see, sometimes even the school is more progressive and they want to do some of these things. The parents say, no, it's what a waste of time. इससे हमारा बच्चा कैसे अच्छा होगा?
Yeah, how do you get into IIT if he doesn't?
तो IIT का जाके करोगे क्या यार तुम?
But education, I feel, should be that exploratory process.
Exactly. So, you see, now I'm still learning. Even in my painting, so I try, because I'm self-learning. I don't have a teacher. I don't have anybody. So, ठीक है. अब थोड़ा बहुत YouTube में कुछ होता है. Somebody gives some techniques, but ultimately you're going to do it yourself. But you see, for me, the process is more important than the ultimate result. I'm not, because the enjoyment part is is the process of being able to create something. At that time, it looks good. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I think that is what we all need to somewhere sit, pause, and think.
Yeah.
What is it that we want from our life? And I think that is what children need to have, that reflective sort of an exercise as well, where they are just, kind of sitting, pausing, and thinking, what is driving me to do this?
So I know that's why what you are saying is very important and pertinent, especially in this COVID. A lot of people are saying this has given the time for a lot of people to sit back and say, do I need a third car or a fourth car? I mean, what am I doing with my life? A lot of people. So I don't know if what they're saying is we are all, at least I'm an optimist. We can always hope that tomorrow will be a better world after we have gone through this crisis.
Yeah.
And I hope this is also a time when people realize and appreciate the need for the arts. See, when people have been locked down, what are this? We have had this conversation. What did they spend time on?
Yeah.
They watch movies, they watch plays, they listen to music. Well, you didn't dance, but you watched dance performances. Well,
Yeah.
people would not have. I've also been going to online art galleries to improve my understanding of art. Today we are much better off. Like the best art galleries now, they have things online available. Earlier, to visit an exhibition meant you had to go to Paris, physically go there. But today you don't need to. You can see a lot of art sitting at home.
Online. But the key is that you should know, or you should be aware, or you should have the desire.
Yeah. So somebody has to develop the interest.
Yes.
The desire will come once that little spark one has to ignite to say, okay, yes, this is something fascinating.
Or
it's like some children develop it. Sometimes it's the parents who inspire, but then it's for educators now to light that spark and say, so even if the parents are not interested, as long as the child gets interested, then it's a life learning.
Yes.
You can be doing a management job, but that does not mean that in the evening or on weekends you don't visit an art gallery. Why waste your time watching some stupid soap serial?
Absolutely. I mean, reading is also art.
The thinking about art education has to be more about developing interest in the awareness and knowledge of art rather than being able to do art. So you see, most of our, when you have art schools, all they teach is, you go to a hobby class. It's not a hobby. You see, this is where I'm trying to give. It's not about hobby. It's not being able to play with plasticine and clay and being able to. Yes, that you will do. Everybody you cannot expect to do because people have different abilities and talent. But developing an awareness and knowledge about it, everyone can do.
Yes.
So you can be a very good connoisseur of art without having to actually paint art.
Sure. Thank you so much, Ranjan.
Okay,
Thanks
bye.
a lot. Bye. All the best.
Okay, bye. Thanks.